Today we're going to learn how to solve two-step equations. My last video was over one-step equations, so to watch that, click here. I recommend that you watch the one-step equations video first so that it will be easier to understand for the two-step equations. Solving two-step equations are just like solving one-step equations. You have to try to get the variable by itself. So just like one-step equations, I would write out what's happening to my variable. So the first thing that happened to my variable is that it's being divided by 4. The next thing that's happening to it is that it's being added by 2. So just like when we're solving one-step equations, we have to start from the last step. So we have to do the opposite of adding by 2 and subtract by 2. So this cancels out, and you have to do the same to the other side. So you're left with 4 equals a divided by 4. So we did that step. Now we have to do step number 1. So instead of dividing by 2, I'm dividing by 4, we have to multiply by 4. So we have to multiply by 4, and then we have to multiply by 4 here. So you're left with 16 equals a, because this cancels out. So that's your answer. So for number 2, we're going to write out our steps again. So our variable is being multiplied by 9, and then it's being subtracted by 7. So we're going to start from step number 2, and instead of subtracting by 7, we have to add by 7. Do that to the other side. You're left with 9x equals 0. So step number 1, now we have, instead of multiplying by 9, we have to divide by 9. So these cancel out, and then you're left with x equals 0. So that's your answer. Try solving number 3 on your own. So the first thing that happened to my x is it's being divided by 5. The next thing that happened is that it's being added by 4. So instead of adding by 4, we have to subtract by 4. Do that to the other side. So you're left with negative 4 equals n divided by 5. So instead of dividing by 5, we have to multiply by 5. Do that to this other side. Then your answer is negative 20 equals n. Hopefully you got that answer. So this problem is a little bit different. Before you actually solve the equation, you have to do this thing called distributing. Distributing is just multiplying the number outside the parentheses to everything inside the parentheses. So to help you, I would draw arrows. So you have to multiply all this. So 2 times n is 2n. And then 2 times 5 is 10. Now you could solve it as normal. So the first thing that's happening to my variable is that it's being multiplied by 2. Then it's being added by 10. So instead of adding by 10, we have to subtract by 10. Do the same thing to the other side. Instead of multiplying by 2, you have to divide by 2. And your answer is -6. So this is another distributing property problem. So remember, you have to distribute the -12 to everything in the parentheses. So 144 equals -12x. And then -12 times 5 is -60. So now you could solve it as you would a two-step equations problem. So the first thing that's happening to our x is that it's being multiplied by a -12. And then the next thing is that it's being subtracted by 60. So then instead of subtracting by 60, you add 60. Two or 4 equals -12x. So instead of multiplying by -12, we have to divide by -12. So 204 divided by 12. Twelve goes into 84 7 times, so your answer is -16 since the 12 was negative. So -17 equals x. Pause the video and try solving this problem on your own. So the first thing we have to do is distribute. So draw your arrows. 9 times 7 is 63. Then 7 times k is 7k. So the first thing that happened to our variable is that it's being multiplied by 7. The next thing that happened is that it's being added by 63. So we have to subtract 63 from both sides. The next thing we have to do is divide by 7. You're left with k equals 3. Thank you so much for watching. Please share this video with your friends and family and give it a big thumbs up.